The snow was falling slowly. Soft, quiet, endless. Each small white piece drifted down from the dark sky and settled over the broken battlefield, covering fire, metal, and bodies like a silent blanket. The storm did not care who had won or lost. It only erased. The war was over. Or at least, it was quiet for now. Burning ships lay scattered across the frozen ground. Some were human, some were not. Their broken pieces glowed red in the distance, sending thin lines of smoke into the cold air. The wind carried the smell of ash and metal. Nothing moved, nothing, except one small creature. In the middle of the battlefield, where the damage was worst. A baby dragon sat in the snow. It was small compared to the giant war beast people feared. Its wings were not fully grown. Its scales were scratched and dull from battle. A thin line of smoke came from its nose as it breathed slowly. In front of it lay a human. The human was still. Still. The dragon lowered its head and gently nudged him with its nose. Once. Then again. No movement. The dragon paused. Its glowing eyes blinked slowly. It tilted its head. Confused. This was not normal. The human always reacted. Always. When the dragon nudged him before, he would laugh, or speak, or push its nose away with a tired smile. Sometimes he would complain in a soft voice. But now, nothing. The dragon let out a small, uncertain sound. A soft chirp. It nudged him again. This time a little harder. Still nothing. The human's body shifted slightly in the snow, but not by choice. The dragon stepped closer. Its claws pressed into the cold ground as it moved around him, looking from different angles, as if trying to understand what was wrong. It sniffed his face. Cold. No breath. No voice. No movement. The dragon pulled its head back. Its chest rose and fell faster. Now. Something was wrong. Very wrong. It did not understand what, but it felt it. A strange feeling. Heavy. Unfamiliar. Uncomfortable. The dragon made another sound. Louder this time. A small cry that echoed softly across the empty field. No answer came. Far away, behind broken walls and damaged machines, a group of human soldiers watched. They stayed hidden. They did not move closer. They only watched. One of them lowered his weapon slightly, his eyes fixed on the scene. "That's him," he whispered. Another soldier nodded slowly. "Yeah, that's the one who raised it." Silence fell between them again. They had all seen it during the war. The human and the dragon. Always together. Always moving as one. The dragon never left his side. Not once. And now, the human was gone. But the dragon had not left. Why is it still there? One soldier asked quietly. "It should have flown away by now," another said. "That's what wild ones do." A third soldier shook his head. "That one's not like the others." They watched as the small dragon moved again. It lowered its body and slowly curled around the human, wrapping its wings carefully over him. Not tightly, not aggressively. Gently. Like it was protecting something important. Its tail moved across the snow, covering part of the human's legs. Its wings folded over his chest, shielding him from the cold. From the snow. From everything. The dragon rested its head against the human's shoulder and waited. The snow continued to fall. Time passed, minutes, maybe hours. The battlefield grew quieter. Even the fires in the distance began to fade. But the dragon did not move. Every few moments, it would lift its head slightly and look at the humans. Face. Watching. Waiting. Its eyes showed something new. Now. Not fear. Not anger. Something deeper. Something it did not understand. It nudged him again, softer. This time. Almost careful. As if it didn't want to hurt him. Still. Nothing. The dragon let out a low sound. Softer than before. A sound filled with confusion and something close to pain. It shifted its body closer, pressing against him for warmth. Its wings tightened slightly around him. Protecting. Always. Protecting. Because that is what it had learned. That is what the human had taught. It protect those you care about. Stay close. Never leave. The dragon did not understand why the human was not moving. It did not understand why he was cold. It did not understand why he was silent. But it understood one thing. Very clearly he needed protection. So it stayed. The wind grew stronger. Snow began to cover them. Both a thin layer formed over the human's clothes, over the dragon's wings. Still, the dragon did not move. Far away, the soldiers were still watching. One of them swallowed hard. He's not coming back, he said quietly. Another looked down at the ground. Yeah. Silence again. Then the first soldier spoke once more. But it doesn't know that. They all looked back at the dragon still curled round the human. Still waiting. Still believing. The smallest soldier in the group frowned slightly. Should we help it? He asked. No one answered right away, because no one knew the answer. After a moment, the leader shook his head slowly. No, he said. Not yet. Why? Because right now, the leader said quietly, that dragon isn't dangerous. He paused, watching closely. It's grieving. The others said nothing. They had never seen a dragon grieve before. They weren't even sure dragons could feel that way. But what they were seeing now, it looked too real to ignore. Back on the battlefield, the baby dragon lifted its head again. It looked at the sky. Snowflakes touched its face and melted against its warm scales. Then it looked back down at the human. Its eyes softened. It made a quiet sound, almost like a question. As if asking, why aren't you waking up? No answer came, only silence. The dragon slowly lowered its head again and rested it beside the human's chest. Listening. Waiting. Hoping. Because in its small, innocent mind, this was only temporary. The human had fallen before, had been still before, but he always came back. Always stood up. Always smiled again. So the dragon waited. It stayed. It protected him. Because it believed he would wake up. He always did. And until that moment came, the baby dragon refused to leave. Months before the war, before the fire, before the destruction, before the silence of the battlefield, there was only noise, loud engines, metal tearing, alarms screaming through the sky. A human transport ship had fallen from orbit. It crashed hard into a cold, rocky valley far from any city. The impact shook the ground. Snow and dust rose into the air, covering everything in gray. When the noise finally stopped, there was only the sound of wind. Rescue teams arrived hours later. Humans in heavy armor moved carefully through the wreckage. They searched for survivors, calling out, scanning, lifting broken metal pieces. Anyone alive? One shouted. No answer. Only silence. Most of the ship was destroyed. Twisted metal, burned wires, broken walls. And something else. Something not human. One of the soldiers stopped. Wait, do you hear that? At first, no one else noticed. But then a faint sound. Soft. Weak. A small, broken cry. The soldiers froze. That's not human, another whispered. They slowly moved toward the sound, stepping over sharp metal and glowing debris. The cry came again, closer now. Underneath a large piece of the ship's hull. One soldier raised his weapon. Be careful, he said. Could be a wild creature. Another shook his head. Or worse, they had all heard the stories. Dragons. Unpredictable. Dangerous. Impossible to control. If one was hiding under that wreckage, it could attack at any moment. Leave it, one of them said firmly. We're not here for that. Yeah, another agreed. We don't take risks like this. Most of the team stepped back, but one man didn't move. He kept looking at the wreckage. Listening. The small cry came again, weaker. This time. He stepped forward. Hey, what are you doing? Someone called out. He didn't answer. Instead, he knelt down beside the heavy metal piece. The sound was right under. Trapped. Alone. He placed his hand on the cold surface. It's still alive, he said quietly. Don't be stupid, another soldier snapped. If it's a dragon, it'll tear you apart. The man shook his head. No, he said calmly. Not like this. He could hear it clearly now. The small breathing, the weak movement. Whatever was under there, it wasn't strong enough to fight. It was dying. He made a choice. I'm moving this, he said. Don't. One of them warned. That's an order. But he didn't listen. He grabbed the edge of the metal and tried to lift it. It didn't move. Too heavy. He adjusted his grip, took a breath, then pushed. Harder. The metal shifted slightly with a loud scraping sound. The others stepped back, raising their weapons. Get ready, someone shouted. The man didn't stop. Slowly, carefully, he moved the wreckage piece by piece. Every movement was controlled, careful. He didn't want to crush whatever was underneath. Finally, the last piece slid away, and there it was. Small. Curled up, covered in dust and blood. A baby dragon. Its wings were folded tightly around its body. One of them was injured. Its breathing was uneven. Its eyes opened slightly, glowing, but weak. The soldiers raised their weapons instantly. Back away. One yelled, now. The baby dragon saw them. Saw the weapons. It tried to move, tried to stand, but it cold and single quotes t. Instead, it opened its mouth and made a small, broken hiss. It tried to bite, tried to defend itself, but it had no strength. The man slowly raised his hand. Easy, he said softly. The dragon snapped weakly in his direction. Its teeth barely touched his glove. It was too tired to even attack. The others watched in shock. What are you doing? Someone whispered. Step back. Another warned. But the man didn't move. Instead, he smiled, a small, calm smile. It's okay, he said. Gently, his voice was quiet. Slow. Not a threat. The dragon stopped moving for a moment. Its eyes stayed locked on him. Confused. It didn't understand this. Humans were loud. Violent. Dangerous. But this one was not. The man reached into his pack. The soldiers tensed again. What now? One muttered. He pulled out a small food container, opened it. Then slowly placed it on the ground in front of the dragon and stepped back. The dragon didn't move at first. It only watched. The smell reached it. Food. Its body reacted before its mind could. Slowly, painfully, it moved its head forward, took a small bite. Then another. The soldiers stared. It wasn't attacking. It wasn't roaring. It was eating, like a starving animal, like a child. The man watched quietly. No sudden movements. No fear in his eyes, only patience. See? He said softly. It's just scared. No one replied, because no one had ever seen this before. After eating, the dragon lowered its head again. Its breathing slowed, but it didn't hide, didn't hiss. It just stayed there, looking at him. The man slowly moved closer. This time, it didn't try to bite. He reached out his hand, paused for a moment. Then gently touched its head. The dragon flinched slightly, but didn't pull away. Its eyes blinked slowly. It was warm. Safe. For the first time since it could remember. No pain. No fear. Only quiet. Days passed. The rescue team left, but the man stayed. He made a small shelter near the crash site, kept the dragon hidden. Fed it, cleaned its wounds, gave it water, talked to it, even when it didn't understand. At first, the dragon stayed far away. Watching. Always watching. If he moved too fast, it hissed. If he got too close, it backed away. But he never forced it, never rushed, just waited. Day by day, the dragon changed. The hissing stopped. The fear faded. It started coming closer on its own. First a few steps. Then more. One day, it didn't run at all. It sat beside him. Quiet. Curious. He smiled. Hey, he said softly. The dragon blinked. It didn't understand the words, but it understood the tone. The feeling. Safe. That word. Even if it didn't know it, it felt it. Soon, it began to follow him. At first, just a few steps behind. Then closer. Always watching him. Always near, like a shadow. Like a child learning the world. And he let it. He never pushed it away, never left it alone. They ate together, walked together, rested near the same fire. Slowly, something new formed between them. Not control. Not ownership. Something deeper. Trust. The dragon no longer saw him as a threat, and the man never saw it as a monster. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, the dragon curled up beside him. Closer than ever before. It rested its head near his arm, and for the first time, it slept peacefully. No fear. No pain. Only warmth. The man looked down at it. then gently placed his hand on its head and stayed still, because he understood something important. This small creature was no longer alone, and neither was he from that moment on. They were not just survivor and rescuer. They were something else. Something stronger, something rare. They were family. And for the first time in its life, the baby dragon felt safe. The war came fast. There was no warning, no time to prepare. One day, the skies were clear. The next, they were burning. Strange ships appeared above the cities. Dark shapes blocked the sun. Loud sounds shook the ground. Lights flashed across the sky. Then came the attacks. Buildings fell. Streets broke apart. People ran in fear. No one understood where the enemy came from. No one knew how to stop them. They were stronger, faster, more advanced. Human defenses failed again and again. Every battle ended the same way: loss. The world was changing, and not in a good way. Far from the cities, in the quiet mountains, the man and the dragon saw it all from a distance. They saw the smoke rising, heard the distant explosions, felt the ground shake. The dragon stood beside him, its body now much larger than before. Its wings had grown strong. Its scales shined brighter. Its eyes were sharper. It was no longer weak, no longer helpless. But even as it changed, one thing stayed the same. It never left his side. The man watched the horizon in silence. He knew what was coming. War. Real war. Not something they could hide from anymore. He looked down at the dragon. It looked back at him. No fear, only trust. He took a slow breath. "We can't stay here," he said quietly. The dragon tilted its head. It didn't understand the words, but it understood the tone. Something serious was happening. Something big. The man packed what little they had: food, tools, basic supplies. Then he turned and started walking. The dragon followed, just like always, side by side. They didn't run from the war. They walked toward it, because there was nowhere else to go. Days later, they reached the edge of a destroyed city. Smoke filled the air. Ruins stretched as far as the eye could see. Burned buildings, broken roads, abandoned vehicles, and silence. Too much silence. The dragon stayed close. Its body moved low to the ground, alert, ready. The man stepped carefully through the rubble, looking for survivors, listening for any sound. Then the loud crash. Both of them turned instantly. From the shadows between broken walls, something moved, fast. A shape rushed toward them. The dragon reacted first. It stepped in front of the man. Wings spread, teeth showing. A low growl filled the air. The creature stopped. Not human. Not anything they had seen before. Tall, thin, covered in dark armor, glowing eyes. An enemy soldier. It raised its weapon. Before it could fire, the dragon attacked, fast, faster than anything before. It leaped forward, knocking the creature to the ground. The weapon fired wildly, missing everything. The dragon didn't stop. It struck again, and again, until the creature stopped moving. Silence returned. The dragon stood over the body, breathing heavily. Then it turned, looked at the man, checking, always checking. The man nodded slowly. "I'm okay," he said. The dragon relaxed. Just a little. That was the moment everything changed. The dragon had fought before, hunted, survived. But this was different. This time, it fought for him. From that day on, they didn't avoid the war. They became part of it. They moved from place to place, helping survivors, fighting enemies, protecting what little remained. And everywhere they went, people saw them, a human and a dragon, together. At first, humans were afraid. They raised their weapons, backed away. "Stay back," they shouted. But the man never attacked, never threatened. He simply stood there, calm, and the dragon stood beside him, quiet, watching. Not wild, not out of control, just waiting. Over time, people began to notice. The dragon only moved when the man moved, only attacked when he was in danger, only listened to him, no one else. They're connected. Someone whispered one day. It follows him. It trusts him. Word began to spread, fast, across small groups. across broken cities, across the battlefield. A story about a human and a dragon that fought beside him. Hope began to grow, not from weapons, not from ships, but from something else, something no one expected, a bond. In battle, they were unstoppable. The dragon flew above, scanning the area. Its wings cut through the sky with power. Its eyes saw everything, every movement, every threat. And when danger came, it struck first. Fire burst from its mouth, bright, hot, powerful. Enemies scattered. Machines burned. The ground shook under its strength. But even in the middle of chaos, it always stayed close to him, always. If he moved forward, it followed. If he stopped, it circled back. If he was in danger, nothing else mattered. Not the mission, not the enemy, not the war, only him. Once, during a heavy battle, the man was separated from the others. Enemy forces surrounded him, weapons aimed. No way out. The dragon saw it from above. Its eyes locked onto him. And in that moment, everything else disappeared. It didn't think, didn't hesitate. It dove, fast, like a falling star. It crashed into the ground between him and the enemy. The impact shook everything. Fire exploded outward. Enemies were thrown back. The dragon stood tall, wings wide, roaring, a sound so powerful it echoed across the entire battlefield. Then it turned, faced the man, checked him, safe. Only then did it turn back to fight. Soldiers who saw this stood frozen. They had never seen anything like it. That dragon, one whispered, it chose him. From that day on, something changed in the hearts of the soldiers. They fought harder, stood stronger, because now, they believed, if a creature like that could stand with a human, then maybe they still had a chance. The man became a symbol. The dragon became a legend. But to each other, they were still the same, just a human and a dragon, walking side by side, fighting together, trusting each other. As the war grew worse, their bond only grew stronger. The dragon became bigger, stronger, faster. Its wings could block explosions. Its fire could destroy entire enemy lines. Its roar alone could shake the ground. But no matter how powerful it became, it never changed, because at the center of everything was him, the one who saved it, the one who stayed, the one who never saw it as a monster. And so, in a world falling apart, where cities burned and hope faded, one simple truth stood strong, unbreakable: a human and a dragon, connected not by control, not by force, but by trust. And that bond was about to change everything. The final battle came. Not slowly, not quietly. It arrived like a storm that could not be stopped. The sky turned dark again, filled with enemy ships, bigger than before, more than anyone had ever seen. They covered the horizon, blocking out the light. The ground shook under their arrival. Cities that were still standing fell. Defenses that had survived for months were crushed in minutes. This was not another attack. This was the end. Human forces gathered what little they had left, broken ships, damaged weapons, tired soldiers. They stood together on the last line of defense. If this battle was lost, everything would be gone. The man stood among them, quiet, still. The dragon stood beside him, larger now than ever before. Its wings stretched wide. Its body carried scars from many battles. Its eyes burned with focus. But when it looked at him, they softened. Always. Around them, soldiers prepared for the final fight. Some checked their weapons. Some said nothing at all. Some looked at the dragon with hope. Because if it was here, then maybe, just maybe, they still had a chance. A loud sound broke the silence. The enemy ships began to move. Weapons charged. Lights grew brighter. Then the attack began. Energy beams tore through the sky. Explosions hit the ground. The battlefield turned into chaos in seconds. Humans fired back. Ships launched what little they had. The dragon leaped into the air. Its wings pushed against the wind with power. It flew straight into the storm. Fire burst from its mouth, cutting through enemy machines. One ship exploded. Then another. It moved faster than ever before, stronger than ever. But still, it stayed close. Always circling back, always checking him, on the ground. The man fought with the others, moving through smoke and fire, helping where he could, holding the line. But even he could see the truth. They were losing. Too many enemies. Too much power. Too little time. One by one human defenses fell. Explosions got closer. The ground broke apart. The sky burned brighter. The dragon landed beside him again. Hard, breathing fast, its body covered in marks from battle. But its eyes still locked on him. Waiting. The man looked around. Everywhere he turned. Destruction. Falling soldiers. Burning ground. No way out. No chance to win. He understood. This was it. He looked back at the dragon. For a moment, everything else faded away. No war. No noise. Just the two of them, standing together. Like always. The dragon stepped closer, lowered its head slightly. A quiet sound came from its throat. Not a roar. Not anger. Something softer. Something only meant for him. The man placed his hand on its head. Just like before. Back when everything was simpler. Back when there was no war. You did good, he said quietly. The dragon blinked slowly. It didn't understand the words, but it felt them. The meaning. The feeling. Then a massive explosion hit nearby. The ground shook violently. Both of them stumbled. The moment was broken. Reality rushed back. The man looked up. More ships were coming. More than before. He knew what had to be done. There was only one way left. He turned back to the dragon. His expression changed. Still calm, but different, more serious, more final. Go, he said. The dragon didn't move. It just stared at him. Confused. Double quotes. Go, he repeated. Still nothing. The dragon stepped closer instead. Refusing. The man's voice grew louder. Go. The sound cut through the chaos. Sharp. Commanding. The dragon froze. But it still didn't leave. It couldn't. Every instinct told it the same thing. Stay. Protect him. Never leave. The man took a step back. His hand moved to a small device on his arm. A tool from the war. One he had never used before. Not like this. He looked at the dragon one last time. His eyes softened. I'm sorry, he whispered. Before the dragon could react, he activated it. A sudden flash of light appeared between them. A barrier formed instantly. Strong, solid, unbreakable. The dragon jumped back in shock. Then rushed forward. It slammed into the barrier. Hard. The impact echoed. The barrier didn't move. The dragon hit it again. And again. Its claws scratched against the glowing surface. Its wings beat wildly. It roared loud. Desperate. The sound filled the battlefield. Soldiers turned to look. Even the enemy paused for a moment. The dragon kept attacking the barrier. Fire burst from its mouth. Claws struck again and again. Nothing worked. The barrier held. On the other side, the man stood still. Watching. The dragon looked at him. Its eyes filled with something new. Fear. Not for itself. For him. It didn't understand. Why was he doing this? Why was he pushing it away? It roared again. Louder. More desperate. The man raised his hand slowly, placing it against the barrier. The dragon mirrored the movement, pressing its head against the other side. For a moment, they were close again, separated only by light. The man smiled. A small, quiet smile. The same one from the beginning. It's okay, he said softly. The dragon made a low sound. It didn't believe in .could single quotes t. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Behind the man, the enemy forces gathered. Weapons charging, energy building. He turned his head slightly. Just enough to see. Then back to the dragon. No fear in his eyes. Only one thought. Keep it safe. Even if it meant this, he stepped back from the barrier. The dragon reacted instantly, slamming into it again, trying to reach him, trying to stop him. But it was too late. The man activated the final sequence. Lights began to glow around him. The ground beneath his feet lit up. Energy built rapidly. Too much, too fast. The dragon roared louder than ever before. It attacked the barrier with everything it had. Claws. Fire. Wings. Nothing worked. The barrier stayed strong. The man looked at it one last time. And in that moment, everything they had shared passed between them. The rescue, the first touch, The quiet nights, the battles, the bond. All of it in one final look. Then he turned away and faced the enemy. The light grew brighter, blinding. The energy reached its peak, then dashed. The explosion came, it lit the sky like a second sun, white, blinding. Endless. The ground shook, the air burned. Everything disappeared in light. The dragon was thrown back by the force, it hit the ground hard. The barrier shattered, gone. The light slowly faded. The battlefield fell silent, no ships, no enemies, no movement, only smoke. In ash, in emptiness, the dragon slowly lifted its head. Its body shook. Its eyes searched, looking for him, waiting, hoping, but there was nothing, no movement. No voice, no answer, only silence. The war was over, but the cost was everything. Back in the present, the battlefield was quiet again, to quiet. The fire was gone. The ships were cold. Only snow remained, falling slowly from the gray sky, covering everything, hiding the scars of war. In the middle of it all, the baby dragon still waited. It had not moved far, not since that moment, not since the light faded, not since the world went silent. The human still lay where he had fallen, and the dragon stayed beside him, always close, always watching. Days passed, the sun rose and fell, again, and again. But the dragon did not leave. Snow began to gather on its wings, on its back, on the human's still body. Each day, the white layer grew thicker, colder, heavier. Still, the dragon did not move. Sometimes, it would lift its head, look down at him, and nudge him gently, just like before, waiting for a response, waiting for movement, waiting for anything. But there was nothing, no breath, no voice, no smile, only silence. The dragon did not understand, it could not understand, to it. This was wrong. The human had always been there, always stood up again, always came back, so why not now? It let out a soft sound, low, quiet, almost like a question. But no answer came, far away. Humans had returned, soldiers, rescue teams. They walked carefully across the frozen battlefield, looking for survivors, looking for anything left. That was when they saw it, the dragon still there, still guarding the body. One soldier stopped. That's it, he whispered. The same one others joined him, watching from a distance. No one moved closer. Not at first. They remembered what this dragon had done, what it had become, a weapon, a protector, a legend. And now, something else. It hasn't left. One asked quietly. Another shook his head. It's been days. Why is it still there? No one had an answer, but they could all see it. The dragon was not resting, not hiding, not waiting to attack. It was staying, guarding, protecting, like before. One soldier took a careful step forward, slow, quiet. The dragon reacted instantly. Its head snapped up, eyes glowing. A low growl escaped its throat, warning, clear and strong. The soldier froze. I'm not here to hurt him, he said softly. The dragon didn't understand the words, but it understood tone, movement, intent, and right now, it only saw a threat. It stepped closer to the human, placed itself between them, protecting, always protecting. The soldiers stopped, no one dared to move further. Leave it, the leader said quietly. It's guarding him. They stepped back, respecting the silent line the dragon had drawn. Time passed again. More days, more snow, the world moved on. But the dragon did not, it stayed. Because in its heart, nothing had changed. The human was still there, still close, still his. He just needed time. That's what it believed. That's what it held onto. Even as the cold grew stronger, even as the silence grew deeper. One night, the wind howled louder than before. Snow fell harder. The sky was dark. The dragon lifted its head slowly. Something felt different, not outside, inside, a quiet feeling. Deep. Heavy, it looked down at the human again. Longer this time, studying his face, still, unmoving, cold. The dragon nudged him again, softer than ever before, no response, it waited. A long moment passed. Nothing. Then something changed, not in the human. In the dragon, a small shift, a quiet understanding. Not complete, not clear, but enough. The dragon let out a low sound, different from before. Not confused, not questioning, something else. Something closer to sadness. It slowly stood up. Its legs moved carefully, stiff from the cold. Snow fell from its wings as it rose. For the first time in days, it was not curled around him. It looked up at the sky. The same sky where the battle had ended, where the light had taken everything. It stayed like that for a moment. Still. Silent. Then it looked back down. At him. Its eyes softened. It made a quiet sound, almost like a goodbye. Soft, gentle. The wind carried it away. The dragon stepped closer one last time, lowered its body again, and slowly, carefully, it spread its wings, not to fly, not yet, but to cover him. One last time. Its wings wrapped around the human, shielding him from the snow. From the cold. From the world. Just like before, a final act of protection. A promise. The dragon rested its head against him for a moment, still. Silent. Then it pulled back. Slowly. Reluctantly. It took a step away, then another. Its wings opened wider. The wind caught them. Snow lifted into the air around it. The dragon paused, just for a second, looking at him one last time. Then it leaped. Its wings beat powerfully. Once. Twice. And it rose into the sky. Higher. Higher. Until it became a shadow against the clouds. And then it was gone. The battlefield was empty. Only snow remained. And silence. But the story did not end there. Across the galaxy, stories began to spread. Of a dragon, a powerful one. Seen in the skies. Alone. But never truly alone. It appeared in times of danger. In moments of fear. When people needed help the most. It fought, protected, saved lives. Then disappeared again. No one could control it. No one could command it. But it always chose to help. Some said it was a weapon. Others said it was a myth. But those who saw it closely knew the truth. There was something different about it. Something human. Not in its body, but in its actions. In its choices. In its heart. Because somewhere deep inside, it still remembered. The one who saved it. The one who stayed. The one who taught it what safety felt like. What trust meant. What love was. It did not understand death. Not fully. Maybe it never would. But it understood something stronger. Something that did not fade. Something that did not disappear. Memory. And because of that, the human was never truly gone. He lived on. In every flight. In every battle. In every life the dragon protected. A silent promise carried through the stars. And so, the legend grew. Not of a monster. Not of a weapon. But of a guardian. A protector. A symbol of something greater. A bond that could not be broken, even by death. Because even if the dragon didn't understand death, it understood one thing perfectly: it would never forget.